Welcome to Subramani. I've been talking a lot about asset allocation, and therefore the most important thing related to that is rebalancing. We saw why you should be rebalancing or what is rebalancing and how it should be done. Today I'm going to tell you how to rebalance, and it's very simple. Why are you rebalancing? To reduce the impact of one asset going up dramatically. Suppose you were in the FANG stocks and that had gone up dramatically, and it is 30% of your portfolio, 40% of your portfolio, and your portfolio is substantial, it is 8 crores or 20 crores or something like that. Then if you don't rebalance, at some stage there will be regret. So therefore you should rebalance, and when you're rebalancing, again there will be regret, saying what happens, the FOMO is there, saying my god, I think FANGs are very fairly priced, look at the growth that will happen, etc., etc. You're fooling yourself. Largely you're telling yourself, I don't want to rebalance even though I have a properly done asset allocation plan. What is the point in abandoning it just because FANG has done well? So don't do this. So it will give you a smooth ride. It is just going to reduce the variability in your portfolio. No, it is not going to improve the return. Please understand this about rebalancing and asset allocation. It will not improve your return. It will reduce the risk. It will reduce the volatility in your portfolio. That is the purpose. The purpose is not to improve returns. The purpose is to look smarter when the market falls. Like what Prashant Jain does, right? He enters a party very early. For a 7 o'clock party, he is already there at 5. And if the party is going to get over at 12, he has left by 11. And everybody is saying, oh God, he left so early. But he knows exactly what he's doing. That is what I'm trying to teach you. It's not going to be very easy, but it is rebalancing is about your ego control of trying to sell the asset class which is doing best. It is very, very difficult. Don't believe if somebody tells you it's easy, right? So first of all, rebalancing is a beautiful art which some people like Naren are trying to convert into science, and it is perfectly possible when you have a team, when you are willing to make the rules and you are allowing the team to tell you that this is the time to rebalance, this is the time to get out of this particular sector, this is the time to get out of this particular industry, this is the time to get out of equity and maybe get into real estate. You have to make those rules, and you have to follow the rules, and you have to have a set of smart, intelligent people knowing why these rules are in place and which rule has to be ignored at what stage. This is very difficult for an individual to do, and largely individuals don't need to do it so scientifically, simply because they can get away with far more inefficiencies in their portfolio if the portfolio requirements are met. For example, if you have a 20 crore portfolio or all your liquid assets, and your requirements are about say 5-6 lakhs a year, really you can afford to be slack. You need not have the same efficiencies of a Naren or a Prashant Jain or the discipline of Srini of PGIM. You don't need to bring all that into play. It's okay to be slightly inefficient. However, within your framework, there are many reasons why you would want to rebalance or do a asset allocation slightly differently than what is there. Whatever is booming, you may not want to feel like selling. So therefore you make rules, and there is nothing perfect way of doing it. There are various ways of doing it. Some are right, some are wrong. Only hope is you don't get into something which is very wrong, right? So first of all, it's about controlling ego. I've said that many times, and the very simple aim of asset allocation is rebalancing. Suppose you have a very big portfolio, and your portfolio, I mean not like the Rothschild or somebody like that, but you have a 50 crore portfolio or a 30 crore portfolio or even a 5 crore portfolio, and you have large cap, Indian large cap, Indian mid cap, Indian small cap, you have a multi cap or a flexi cap. Then you have international equities, and international equities you have US equities and one global asset allocator which puts into various countries, and you let that fund manager decide whether you should be in US, Japan, Europe, right? You have that there, and you also have one fund which is putting only into emerging equities, right? Then you have something which is a US, but it's putting only in the US value fund, like your Berkshire Hathaways of the world. Your commercial REITs, you have InvITs, you have corporate bonds, you have subscribed to corporate bonds. You have corporate bond portfolio, you have a credit risk portfolio, you have ultra short bond fund, and you have money market funds. You have some inflation index bonds, right? And all this is the combination of assets that you have. What is the point in creating such a big portfolio without doing rebalancing? Because the very reason why you have created this is to maintain this, right? You don't create this just to say, now let it go, it doesn't really matter what I do now. So your ideal asset allocation is out of shape because some shares have gone up, or the equity has gone up, or equity has gone down, something else has gone up, or the US markets have gone up, the Japanese markets have gone down. So somebody has to do. That is what your global asset allocator does. That fund manager knows that he should be selling in US and buying in Japan. The reason why you gave it to an asset allocator is simply because there is no tax implication for you. When he does the rebalancing, there is no tax implication. Please understand, whenever you do rebalancing, there is transaction cost and there is the capital gains that you will have to pay. So remember all this, and therefore there is a cost of rebalancing, there is an ego cost of rebalancing, there is a worry that you will, when the market goes up, you will not participate. Amidst all this you are doing, and how would you do it? Simple. You stick to your asset allocation. You say, okay, I am 30% in large cap, and till 35 I will not bother. So you list down what you have, you list down what is ideal, you list down beyond which you will rebalance. So you're 50% in equity and it has reached 57%, you will not bother. The minute it crosses 57%, you will say, now I need to rebalance. Or at 60% you will rebalance. Make your rules and stick to those rules. That's what I'm saying. Because the worst thing you can do about a rule is to make it and then feel, now I don't need to rebalance or things like that. So write it down, involve your family, have a good advisor who checks it out, and then see how it works for you and how it works for your family. Your spouse, children have to be involved in this, and that's it. It's as simple as that. Thank you.